say, coaching, is he coaching for his job tonight, and all sorts of things like that. So Ryan, what needs to happen? I don't know, maybe tonight, maybe in the coming weeks, in order for Mike McDaniel to keep his job?
You know, things are truly and horribly going wrong when Florida Gators fans are looking at the Miami Dolphins and going, you know what? That's a pretty bad situation down there in South Florida.
Why are you
there
do
it is.
That to
You're
us,
welcome.
Ryan?
In terms of what and just so you know, Jacqueline and Rand are Florida Gator alums. I won't tell you where I went to college because it doesn't matter. There you go, Jacqueline. In terms of Mike McDaniel, I give him credit because he came out and said when they asked Sunday, are you worried about your job? He says, my job is to get this team prepared for the next game, which happens to be Thursday night against the Bills. And he is not focused on any of the outside noise. And part of that's survival, right? You can't spend time worried about what other people are saying, to your point, Jacqueline, about Googling yourself. But this defense has been truly and utterly atrocious. They're not able to generate a pass rush. They're giving up 33 points a game, which is second worst in the NFL. Their passer rating allowed is 126, which ranks 31st. And then the offense has also been a huge point of contention. The running game, they don't even run the ball anymore. You see the 17.5 points they're scoring on offense. They're taking sacks at a prodigious rate, even though teams aren't even blitzing them. One of the lowest blitz rates they're facing on that offense. But look, they have been banged up. Yes, Austin Jackson is out the right tackle. I understand all that. But teams are already battling injuries around the league. So they have to find ways to win. And I'll just say this. I don't think they're going to win tonight, but they have to win 3 of their next 4. It's against the Jets, Panthers, Chargers, and Browns. You have to be 3-4 after that Week 7 game, or we're going to have some conversations about what that looks like going forward.
I think the way we led off this show kind of lets you know that the Dolphins weren't expected to win tonight. So I don't think this game matters or factors in. But the best way for Mike McDaniel to keep his job, quote unquote, is to win. I mean, winning is the cure-all to horrible feelings that you may be feeling throughout a season, and winning is the greatest elixir that we have in our league. So all he has to do is find a way, like Ryan said, there's a stretch of games coming that are very, very winnable for this organization, and just have to win football games. You win football games, you go on a nice slide, then everyone will forget, because that emotion of hope will come in. I remember being in San Francisco in 2017, and we lost the first 9 games of the season, and then we went on a late season stretch where we won 5 in a row, and you would have thought that the previous 9 games that you lost didn't exist. So to Mike McDaniels and the Dolphins organization, the best thing they could do is win.
And we've had this conversation a lot of times about Tyreek Hill, right? Because at training camp, it really seemed like, you know, he had turned a new leaf. He's talking about how he's trying to be a better man, working on his relationship with Tua and his teammates. And then, of course, you know, in the Colts game, we're seeing frustration from Tyreek on the sideline, and it's kind of built up from there. Rand, we've talked about this before, but do you think that Tyreek Hill is going to end the season in Miami?
Yeah, I do. I think he will end the season, and I'm glad you said it that way. I think he will end the season in Miami. I don't know that he will be back in Miami after this season, because there is a potential out in his contract after 2026, but it carries a dead cap number of $15 million. And going into the season, he has $11 million of his $29.9 million base salary next year that becomes fully guaranteed after the 3rd day of the new league year, as well as a $5 million roster bonus. So I don't think anybody is going to pick up this contract as it currently stands and give the Dolphins the draft compensation that they may be looking for to take Tyreek off their hands as late as October. So I think he finishes the season as a Dolphin, but I don't think he will start the new league year as a Dolphin.
Yeah, no, I agree with that, Rand. I think that makes sense, in part because, as you know, there aren't a lot of teams reportedly beating down the Dolphins' door for Tyreek, and we understand that he's not the team captain, and he said some things at the end of last season where he wasn't happy, and it's okay not to be happy if things aren't going the way you want them to go. But the other thing is they need Tyreek. They have Jalen Waddle, who you pointed to as being banged up coming into this game, Jacqueline. Devon Achane has more targets right now than Tyreek does. Malik Washington and Westbrook Akine are the other wide receivers that are getting a lot of reps. And you're not going to win without Tyreek and Jalen out there healthy. Darren Waller hasn't played yet. He's trying to create a sense of having a tight end that can help you out in the middle of the field. So they need Tyreek as much as, or perhaps more than Tyreek needs them, but I don't think he's going anywhere for the reasons Rand laid out. And this offense has not looked anything like the version we've seen in recent years. Because, by the way, when Tua is on point, He is the best quarterback to run this offense. They just have not been able to get it going, in part because of health and inconsistency. So, like Rand said, if you can find a way, and I don't think it's going to happen this week, but going forward over the next month, to get it all together, they'll be the team we're used to seeing, at least before the weather turns cold.
Yeah, I mean, that's a stat we love to throw out there, how the Miami Dolphins perform in weather, under 70 degrees. When it comes to backup.
What's up, Vikings Nation? Victor here with Report Vikings, and today we're diving into a rumor that honestly made me stop and think, what if the Minnesota Vikings made a push to land Tyreek Hill from the Miami Dolphins? Yeah, I know. Sounds wild, but let me break this down. The Dolphins are sitting at 0-3. Their offense looks flat, and Tua has already been banged up. Miami's season is hanging by a thread, and if things keep sliding, they might actually consider shaking things up. Even moving a superstar like Hill if the right offer comes in. Now, here's why the Vikings should pounce. We're inconsistent right now, and our passing game has been shaky. Justin Jefferson missed a chunk of training camp, Jordan Addison is suspended for the first 3 games, and J.J. McCarthy is still trying to find his rhythm. Imagine dropping Tyreek Hill into that mix. The defense would be forced to pick their poison, double Jefferson, or try to keep up with Hill's speed. Either way, somebody's getting cooked. Let's be real, Hill isn't the same guy he was in Kansas City. He's 31 years old, and last season he dipped under 200 yards for the first time since 2020. But even at this stage, Tyreek is still one of the fastest and most dangerous weapons in the NFL. And the best part, his trade value might actually be reasonable now. NFL insiders are saying a 3rd or 4th round pick could be enough because his contract is massive. $27.6 million cap hit in 2025. Then it jumps to a crazy $51.8 million in 2026. That's why Miami might be willing to listen. Now, some of you are probably thinking, Victor, why spend assets on a 31-year-old receiver when we're building around McCarthy? And that's fair. But here's the thing, as if we're serious about competing in the NFC this year, especially with the Lions looking strong and the Packers hanging around, you can't just roll into every game relying on a rookie QB and a banged up Jefferson. Tyreek gives you instant firepower. He changes how defenses line up. He makes life easier for McCarthy. Think about this, Tyreek and Jefferson lined up together. That's not just a good WR duo. That might be the best 1-2 punch in the entire NFL. And if Addison slides into the WR3 role when he's back, suddenly the Vikings have an elite passing trio to match teams like Philly or San Francisco. So, here's my question for you guys. Should the Vikings actually go all in and make a move for Tyreek Hill while the Dolphins are down bad, or would that be a huge mistake given his age and contract? Drop your thoughts in the comments. Smash that like button if you'd love to see Hill in purple. And of course, subscribe to the channel so you don't miss any Vikings updates. This is Victor with Report Vikings. And I'll be honest, just imagining Tyreek in purple has me fired up. Skol!